Welcome one and all to the Cine Geeks podcast, where movies, TV, and all things geek collide. I'm your host, Roy, still joined by my lovely co-host, Angela.
Hi!
Hey, Angela. And, we had quite a weekend with our last episode talking about the MMFF films.
Yes, we did.
And
we hope you enjoyed that.
Oh, yes. We sure do hope that you had fun listening to us. Dun sa mga nag-iwan ng kanilang thoughts about our discussion, we would like to thank you for chiming in.
Yeah, special mention to Rai?
Hope we're pronouncing that right.
Yeah, and hello to...
Also to the user, the Grudge, on Instagram for commenting on our post regarding yung look back episodes. So, thank you for engaging with us, and for those na hindi pa nakakapag-comment or give ng kanilang feedback either to the films or to our review, please feel free to contact us or at least leave us a message or a comment on our socials at CineGeeksPod. Actually, almost on all socials at CineGeeksPod.
Almost all.
Almost all.
And hello din pala kay Vito.
Yes. One of our movie friends.
Yes, one of the movie friends.
Hi, Vito.
Hi, Vito.
Yes. All right. So, for today's episode, we are going to be talking about 3 movies. 3 international movies. Okay, so medyo balik muna tayong international ngayon. Okay?
Yeah, pero kasi one of them has Filipino cast member.
Yes. May Filipino pedigree siya.
Yeah.
Okay. So, the 3 movies we're talking about are Raging Grace, directed by Paris Zarcila. Migration, directed by Benjamin Renner and Gilo Homsey. And finally, Anyone But You, directed by Will Gluck. Okay. So, without any further ado, let's get to the movies, starting with Raging Grace. Okay. So, for this movie, it's a very straightforward, I would say, horror thriller or psychological thriller siguro. Pwede mo sabihin yan. We're just gonna read this quickly lang, yung blurb niya sa IMDb para lang pang setup. An undocumented Filipina immigrant lands a job as a care worker for a terminally ill old man, securing a better future or life for her daughter and for her. But a dark discovery threatens to destroy everything she's strived for and holds dear. Okay, so starring Max Eigenmann as Joy and Jaden Page Boadilla as Grace. So the titular Grace. So,
yeah. So siya ba yung raging?
Siya yung raging Grace.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll give my thoughts about her pag ako naman mamaya. Pero sige, Ange, what did you think of Raging Grace?
Actually, I came in the cinema expecting it to be horror. Talaga, as in supernatural horror. Kasi Raging Grace eh. Especially nung na-establish na the name of the kid is Grace. So parang ang ano ko is maybe Omen or parang Firestarter, ganon. Or basta Demon Child.
Poltergeist.
Hindi naman si Child yung ano eh. Okay, demon dun eh. Or Exorcist, ganon.
Exorcist, sige, pwede yan.
Pero I was proven wrong. Kasi it's more like a psychological thriller. That's right. Na merong political undertones.
True. So parang siyang psych horror na psych thriller na gumagamit ng jumpscare.
With a statement.
Yun din. So parang siyang ganun.
Well, na-appreciate ko naman na since they're telling a Filipino-centric story na talagang Tagalog yung ginamit nila. Even though the kid, hindi siya masyado nagtatagalog. She's using a British accent. Pero si Max Eigenmann talagang straight Tagalog with subtitles. I always love my subtitles in cinemas. So, yung story niya is about, yun nga, a Filipino immigrant na nagwo-work sa UK. So, typical OFW struggles were told, although exposition dump through phone calls. Ganon nila ni-reveal yung backstory ni Joy. Okay? Pero medyo, yun nga parang we talked about this after watching. It pointed out by our friend Mark, aka Maganda Ba Movie.
Yes. Hi, Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark.
So, medyo declamatory yung performance nung isang actress. Which a little bit distracting given the tone of the movie. It's very subdued and understated. Tapos siya, sobrang niyang loud and flamboyant and para siyang stage actress.
Wait, sino to sinasabi natin?
Yung amo niya.
Kasi dalawa yung amo niya dito eh. Yung isa yung matanda, yung mas bata.
The female.
Si Catherine.
Yun nga, si Catherine.
Okay, sige.
So, siya yung medyo distracting kasi sobrang laki ng movements niya. Sobrang big nung pag-deliver niya ng lines niya. So, parang it felt out of place for a movie as slow burn as this. 'Di ba? Usually, talagang gloom and doom. And as quiet as possible. Parang tipong Midsommar. Ganon. So, you reserve all those loud moments for the climax.
So,
what I liked about the movie was its technical qualities. Maganda yung sound design niya. Talagang nagki-creep under your skin yung kilabot effect nung music tsaka nung sound design. Tapos, yung dark picturesque cinematography nung lumang bahay. Para talagang haunted yung bahay.
Okay.
Although, hindi siya yung parang may mga ghosts kang makikita na in plain sight, ganon. Pero, alam mong hindi inhabited yung bahay, kaya parang meron ng namamahay na evil, ganon. Parang meron ka ng mabigat na pakiramdam, tinitingnan mo pa lang yung bahay, ganon. Yun yung nagustuhan ko. And yung yung paggamit talaga nila nung Tagalog.
Okay.
Na very vernacular. Talagang kung paano magsalita yung mga Pilipino sa kapwa Pilipino. Ganon mag-communicate. Hindi naman siya parang sobrang matalinghaga. Ganon.
Hindi siya sinulat na parang yung Filipino tinranslate galing English. Tapos, yung naisip na gamiting words to translate sobrang, yun nga, matalinhaga. Siya? Yung napaka-natural nung conversations niya in Tagalog. And by the way, there is a siguro turning point in this film na we're not going to spoil kasi this movie is best enjoyed na you don't know anything about it going in. Kasi surprising yung parang
twist.
Second act twist niya. Oo. So, even then, actually, yung sinabi mo na yung paggamit niya ng Tagalog was well appreciated. Much appreciated pala na yung kahit dun sa aspect na yon, maayos pa rin yung pagkakagamit ng Tagalog. Yan.
And ang pinaka-importante doon, tama yung subtitle.
Tama, yun din.
Kasi kapag non-English na mga lines, usually, nawabawasan yung meaning kapag sa subtitle, hindi sakto.
Hindi tama.
Oo. Pero dito, sakto naman siya.
Tama. Anything else to add?
I like the performance of Jaden Page Boadilla. Alam mo yung sobrang affected ako nung acting niya and parang yung intention talaga nung movie na kung ano yung mararamdaman mo dun sa bata. Sobra niyang effective. Yun talaga yung mararamdaman mo.
Okay. Sige.
I don't want to spoil it kasi. Pero yun, sobrang affected ako dun sa bata. Sobra.
Actually, siya yung pinaka-nakakainis na part dito sa scene na to. Parang, if ever there was an ad for birth control, this movie is it. Talagang, and if you don't want to have kids, this movie will affirm your choice to not have kids. Yes. Siguro, yeah, I'll echo some of the things you said. Maganda yung cinematography niya, maganda yung pagkaka-picture lalo na nung nandun na sila sa bahay, nung matanda. Na yun nga, ominous and merong ang creeping sense of unease tuwing ando doon na sila sa bahay. Siguro masasabi ko lang doon sa pagkakashoot niya, sobrang niyang sterile. Siguro dahil nga to shot in UK, this is a UK co-production. Pero parang I understand if there is or there's a choice to make na they'd prefer set shots over handheld. Pero kasi may mga times kahit yung pagkaka-steadicam niya dito sobrang linis na you're trying to build a sense of unease. Siguro, if you're in the part of the movie na you're para siyang exposition both in the information and the level of scares that you're going to give. Yun, doon siguro gagana yung parang medyo malinis pa yung pagkakashoot. Pero kapag shit's going down, doon na dapat parang nararamdaman mo na yung pagiging rattled nung characters mo, yung bida mo. Hindi yung hanggang doon sa nagkakandaloko-loko na lahat. parang ang linis-linis pa rin tignan. Parang painting pa rin tinitignan natin. Oo, there are times na yung quote-unquote clean style of photography works. Kasi pwede mong ipang juxtaposition yun dun sa parang horror na nararamdaman o na-experience ng tao against a very parang clean way of framing them. Pero kasi dito, there was no such setup na magkakaroon ng ganong juxtaposition of any kind. Kasi immediately, pinakita na tayo na sobrang, and I'm sorry to use this term pero parang sobrang street rat-ish nung existence nila mag-ina.
Diba? Yun naman talaga yung ano nila sa story,
yes,
diba?
Oo. Ngayon, even then, parang nawawalan, parang hindi ko nararamdaman yung sense of urgency ng sine in sharing how parang desperate. Yes, their living conditions are. Kasi sobra tayong parang steadicam, sobra tayong set shot. Yeah, actually fine. It's an indie film na prevalent ang talagang one angle coverage ng ganon. Tas puro pan left, pan right lang tayo. Pero siguro naman there were discussions made when making this film na in order to drive home the desperation of the characters, there must be some form of visual translation for the audience to make it parang to have them feel yung kung gaano ka visceral.
Okay. So if I understand you correctly, you think na dapat meron pa siyang konting roughness.
In the way it's shot.
Especially kapag yun na yung nire-reflect ng story.
True.
Kasi parang kahit dun sa mga times na dapat sobrang gulo na nung sitwasyon and sobrang complicated na, you want it to reflect on screen.
Tama.
Na parang hindi na siya sobrang orderly, sobrang harmonious. And organized. Dapat meron kang konting chaotic element.
Exactly. Kasi ito, example and I'm looking at the schedules of yung re-release ng Oppenheimer sa IMAX. And then brings to mind yung parang there are parts in Oppenheimer when the camera is steady. Kasi we want to take in yung either the information being given to us or yung the scope or the scale of what we're seeing. And then, magpapalit bigla yung photography to handheld, intimate, close to the characters. Kapag halimbawa yun, na-excite na si OP sa discoveries niya or kapag nagbubuo na sila ng components ng bomb. Tapos, siya kababalik dun sa parts na steady, placid kapag kailangan. Ito kasi, kahit horrifying na, it's not a horror film. It's, psych thriller siya. But when the movie gets to its intense parts, its horrifying parts, it still feels sterile. It still feels steady. So ano siya, para siyang
hindi ka nagkakaroon ng sense of dread.
Oo, hindi ko din nararamdaman na parang uy, yung characters natin wala eh.
I completely agree with you kasi syempre in any kind of narrative, dapat na-establish mo yung baseline. So kung saan ka nagsimula. And then you leave that baseline, you go to the danger zone.
Yes. Para
your audience will also feel the danger that's happening in the story. So, yun yung hindi nag-reflect on screen.
Yes.
Although, that might be a stylistic choice by the director. Pero, yun nga if you're doing a thriller,
make it thrilling.
So, kailangan mo pa, if you're not gonna manifest it on screen, at least sa sound, o kaya sa lines, sa ganon.
Other elements, tama.
Pero yun nga it seems very clean and very sterile.
Even the reveals are very perfunctory.
Kaya parang medyo underwhelming.
Parang medyo siyang reveal, tas tayo audience parang thud. Parang, okay, yun pala yung reveal nila.
Well, to be fair, meron naman siyang mga reveals na quite substantial.
True. I mean, those are reveals in elemental ways eh. And by elemental, I mean parang information about the characters. Pero yung plot-wise, na we expect these reveals to propel the story forward, to horrify us, to parang make us think na, oh my God, where's this story going? It's the way it's revealed, parang, okay, so ito na yun? Ito yung sikreto nun? Okay, sure, fine. Yun. Anyway, isa pang hindi ko medyo na vibe dito sa sining to is yung for a movie that is about the Filipino experience, this movie feels so un-Filipino. talaga. Na, ang siguro, and I mean by that is, it's like, if a foreigner studied, quote-unquote, the Filipino experience and made a story about that, quote-unquote, Filipino experience, kung paano nila naintindihan, it's not, for me, it's not an accurate representation of the Filipino experience, especially yung ganyang illegal immigration. Kasi, if you actually see what happens to people like that, even then, yung kanilang experiences, pwede ka nang humugot ng intense drama doon eh. Kasi, these people are that's why, the reason why they did that is because they're desperate. They want to simply provide for their families, oo. Pero, ito para siyang...
Parang for somebody staying in the country illegally and trying to conceal a secret. Parang, she's too relaxed.
Too relaxed.
And she's too nonchalant about it. Yun yung medyo hindi rin sa akin hindi rin nag-make sense masyado na parang lagi kang nasa brink na mahuhuli ka. And ang mangyayari doon, ang direct consequence doon is ma-deport ka.
True.
Pero parang hindi siya ganun ka desperate i-protect yung kanyang doon, yung stay niya doon.
Oo. Even yung parang kay yung relationship niya kay Grace sa anak niya. Parang wala siya nung desperation enough and sense of urgency to just protect her at all costs. Oo, sige, there's a visual gag that's elicited a chuckle na parang, okay. Pero even then, hindi na siya na-follow up na, okay, ang follow-up lang is nagtatantrum si bata. So, yung disconnect nila mag-ina ganun. Pero, you can only do that so much until it becomes grating to the point na you've turned your audience against the film kasi parang wala na bang ibang element itong character na to aside from being extremely annoying. Kasi every time that character was on screen, I was just tuning out. Sorry And siguro kung babalik na ako one last dun sa yung nakukulangan ako sa pagka-Pilipino nung kwento. Na ang daming pwede mong gamiting framework for an illegal immigrant worker na Pinoy. And you choose to use the viewpoint of a foreigner. Especially nga dun sa ginamit nung scene na parang bookends niya to its sequences. Yung
cultural show ba yun?
Hindi yung poem ni Rudyard Kipling.
Yes.
Yun. I'm blanking out on the title of the poem. Pero even then, that's actually the movie in a nutshell. It tries to speak about another culture from the perspective of a white man.
Of an outsider.
Not just an outsider, a white man. Na ganun kung how the white man sees the Filipino is what is reflected on screen.
So, don't you think na kaya ganun siya ka unauthentically Filipino is because yun yung point. Kasi nga, katulad nga nung sa poem ni Rudyard Kipling, parang it's seeing a culture through the eyes of somebody who is not a member of it, who is not part of the same culture. So, it's always an outsider perspective. That's why they don't really know what is and what isn't Filipino.
Well,
so, it works actually for the movie that it's not authentically Filipino kasi nga, it's the point. They don't really know. They think they know.
They think they know.
But they really don't know.
Pero siguro, personally speaking, this topic is something na a foreigner has no business parang making a story about. Kasi this one is very, very personal sa maraming Pilipino. Yung plight ng illegal immigration and providing for a better life. So parang to just reduce it to a subject matter of a quote-unquote horror thriller na isn't that engaging, to be honest is diminishes the plight of these actual individuals in those actual scenarios. Man, that's why I guess that's why the movie rubbed me the wrong way. Sorry. Yan. Ikaw, anything to add?
Actually, wala naman na. I think you've covered everything. Siguro props to Max Eigenmann.
Oh, yeah. Performance-wise, wala akong masabi naman.
She carried this movie on her back. And kung wala siya doon, and yung talagang emotion na binubuhos niya dun sa character niya. And we won't be compelled to, root for the protagonist. Kasi ito din yun they're all gray characters. Even Joy.
Well,
diba? Wala namang innocent sa kanila.
Well.
Pero at least we followed one of them.
Well, to add to that lang. Yeah, Joy is not innocent. Pero as Filipinos, we know why. And we know that the why is greater than the she's not innocent. So even then, para siyang yun nga I guess it just rubs me the wrong way talaga how it's presented, yung ganong struggle na parang tinitrivialize niya to parang ano siya, yun, may sinabi tayo pagkatapos nun dating pinanood. This is the movie version of yung linya ni Bradley Whitford sa Get Out na I would have voted for Obama a third time.
So it's pandering.
It tries hard to pander.
And pero sobrang patronizing.
Oo, patronizing and pandering. But unfortunately, they don't even know who they're pandering to and
Yun
why they're patronizing.
Point,
Sure, I guess. Pero there's a way to go about this. Unfortunately, Raging Grace isn't it. So, well, I guess that's it for Raging Grace. Let's move forward over to our next film. Okay? So, it's Migration, the newest animated feature from Illumination Entertainment. And the movie stars Kumail Nanjiani and Elizabeth Banks along with Awkwafina Michael Key in key roles. Pun intended. Ako naman, if you haven't seen the trailer of Migration, it's just a story about a family of ducks who try to convince yung kanilang tatay na sobrang overprotective to have a vacation or to migrate for the winter to Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Illumination is talagang at the top of their game.
Yes.
Sila na yung pumalit sa
sa Disney Pixar. Oo, I agree.
Even Disney Animation Studios.
Ang dami na nila kasing flop.
So, yeah. Wish. Medyo hindi masyadong nag-stick. Ano pa bang iba?
Yung mga last nila, Turning Red.
Oo.
Yung Soul.
Although, ang sa akin naman, yung sa Soul at saka sa Turning Red, yung dahilan kung ba't nag-flop sila.
Pandemic.
Hindi lang yon, dahil kay Bob JPEG. Kasi pinilit niya talagang gustong ilagay sa streaming yung mga sining yun. Kasi si Sere, Disney Plus ang nasa utak. Hindi niya inisip na parang gusto ba dito ng mga creatives na gumawa nito.
Ang last ko na alam na sobrang hit ng Disney was Encanto.
Oo. Pero parang tagal na din nun.
Pandemic din yun.
Pandemic ba? Oo.
Yeah, yung favorite ko talaga yan. We don't talk about Bruno, no.
Yeah. Pero yun na nga, even then parang ganun lang silang kabilis na ungusan ng Illumination. No?
Yung Luca, parang hindi ko naramdaman.
Yun yes.
Yung Lightyear din. At saka yung Elemental.
Yung Elemental, although maganda, was forgettable, unfortunately. Yung
Onward.
Wow. Onward, aka yung last na sine pinanood natin. Yung akala nating last movie na mapapanood natin sa sinihan ever.
Just before everything closed down for the pandemic.
Yeah. Pero anyway, sorry, this is not a rant about Pixar. This is to extol Illumination and how much they've achieved. Yung last year lang, yung Super Mario Brothers. Oh my God, people will say, it's just an animated movie for kids. But it made $1 billion. So everybody wanted to watch it. Yeah, even yung mga super fans ng Super Mario Brothers talaga, or anyone who just enjoys a good comedy in general. Yeah.
Sobrang prolific na ni Illumination.
Diba? Yung mga minion, diba? Even then, nakagawa na sila ng iconic character nila. No? And even, nakakatawa kasi, hindi actually na-announce, pero before Migration, merong short. Merong Illumination short. So,
parang meron na rin silang Disney shorts.
Diba? May Pixar shorts na rin sila. May Illumination short na rin sila. Yung, ano pa kaya? Mooned? So, para siyang mini sequel ng Despicable Me 3.
Ang cute. Ang cute. Sobrang ganda.
Ang ganda.
Classic.
After nang natapos nung short, tinignan nga kita, sabi ko, yep, nominated. Best animated short. Di man nanalo, fine. Pero mananominate yan.
Malay mo.
Actually. Pwede. So, anyway, going back to Migration.
Sige, you go ahead naman. You start.
Okay, thank you. Sige. Migration, what is there to say about a story of ducks deciding to migrate? It's supposed to be a story na parang mahuhugutan mo ba to ng comedy, mahuhugutan mo ba to ng drama, ng emotion, ng a surprising amount of depth, actually.
Oo. I thought this was just gonna be a kid movie talaga na about, quirky ducks, traveling the world, parang Angry Birds, ganun.
Kasi sabi mo nga sa akin na parang nung nagsisimula siya, parang Angry Birds.
Or Rio.
Oo, pwede din. Ganun.
Oo.
Actually, sana sila lang yung gumawa, no? Kung sila.
Oo.
Lalo na yung sa ending nito, yung
Sino ba gumawa ng Angry Birds and Rio?
Blue Sky, Ice Age.
Okay.
Yan. So, dito, Kumail plays the father, si Mac. So, nakakatawa yung opening sequence niya kasi pinakita agad na parang, pag lumabas ka dito sa duck pond natin kakainin kayo ng lahat ng mga...
Actually, it's giving, The Croods.
Yeah.
Diba?
Wait. Illumination din ba yun?
Parang hindi.
Hindi. So, parang Croods with ducks. Anyway.
Oo, kasi yung family dynamic nila parang The Croods.
Parang The Croods.
One of my most favorite animated movie.
Tapos na namang si Elizabeth Banks, si Pam, yung mother.
DreamWorks, si Croods. Sorry.
Si Pam naman, sobrang niyang, gustong-gusto niya makapag-explore ng great outdoors. Kasi nga, lagi na lang silang nasa pond, kahit winter, doon silang lahat sa bahay. And yung mga anak nila, si Dax tsaka si Gwen. Okay? Si Dax is played by Casper Jennings and Gwen is by Tressie Gazal. Sobrang standout para sa akin yung si Gwen. Si Tressie Gazal. Sobrang niyang cute.
Sobrang adorable, no?
Nare-remind ako nung nung pinakabunso nating pusa.
Si Coco.
Coco, aka si Small. Kaya yung gano'n siya parang, I just want to squish. Cute. Masyado. Sobrang cute. Yan. Tapos, yun, nag-decide sila na after nilang maka-encounter ng mga ducks na nagmamigrate, parang itong si Pam, mas lalo siya, parang, sige na, umalis na tayo. And so begins our story. And the story is told in quite amazing visuals. This has one of the best flying sequences ever put to film. Sorry.
Parang Spider-Man.
Parang ganun yung level niya.
Spider-Verse.
Actually, ang naisip ko nga parang siyang alam mo yung kay Zack Snyder, yung Owls of Gahul. I mean, it's a weird movie, yung Gahul, pero yung flying sequences niya are top-notch. So parang siyang ganito din dito na talagang...
Ang ganda siguro niya panoorin sa IMAX, no?
Itong migration. Oo.
Just for the flight scenes lang.
Oo, yun talagang babalutin yan yung vision mo. Sabi ko nga din sa'yo, sana may 4DX.
Oo.
Kaso, sa iba nakalaan ng 4DX ngayon.
Pero, question.
Yeah.
May theme parks to, di ba? Kasi Universal.
Yeah.
So, baka magkaroon ng ride.
Pwede.
Diba? Pwede.
Siguro last na lang, yung performances were fun. Were funny. I mean, you don't get a cadre of comedians and not expect it to be laugh out loud hilarious.
Oh, and don't forget, the character of Uncle Dan was voiced by Danny DeVito.
Danny DeVito pa pala. Oo. So, ano pa si Danny DeVito? So, parang andyan si ang pangalan niya, nakalimutan ko yung pangalan niya sa Sunny.
Frank.
Si Frank. So, tayo mayroong Uncle
Reynolds.
Mayroong Frank Reynolds tayong kasama dito sa doc version.
And I love nga na since pinakita naman na sa trailer na they're gonna fly through New York City, they cast New Yorkers as voices of the other bird characters. So, parang very authentic New York accent yung maririnig natin.
True. Actually, kahit nga yung mga kahit yung mga wala pa sila sa New York, yung si Carol Kane, yung kanyang sobrang short but memorable na cameo as a heron.
Erin the Heron.
Erin the Heron. Tsaka of course, nasa New York tayo si Aquafina, si Chump.
Yeah.
Yes.
Funny yung moment, yung yung scene ni Aquafina doon.
Pero ito funny napansin ko lang, ang dami na niyang role na birds siya. Si Aquafina.
Ano pa ba?
Alam ko may isa pa Parang na-point out natin, nabasa ko to somewhere na parang
Dragon siya sa Mulan.
May naka-point out na Scuttle.
Nga no.
Sa Little Mermaid. Ano pa? Basta, Angry Birds, andun din siya.
Yeah, she's a bird.
She's a bird person.
Just like D.
Shut up, D. Yan.
So, shut up, bird. Only Always Sunny in Philadelphia fans will get
Hello,
that.
creeps. You're gonna get that, creeps.
Yes.
Anyway. Sige, yan sa akin. Lastly na lang, you can't expect a very deep story dito. It's for kids. Yeah. So, why
Pero alam mo, para sa akin hindi lang siya parang exclusively for kids. Kasi parang for adults naman, ang nakuha ko sa kanyang message is parang try to go out of your comfort zone because the world is bigger than you think it is. Parang ganun yung pinaka nakuha kong takeaway If you don't open your eyes to possibilities, to adventure, you're gonna miss it.
Yeah.
Diba?
Super.
So, I loved it. It was a fun time at the cinema, at the movies. Pero with spectacular visuals and the moral lesson.
So, ayun yung siguro yung parang yung na-appreciate ko din dito sa Migration is it's a family movie through and through. Kasi yeah, you're right. There's a lesson for the kids and even for adults. Yun nga, yung about your comfort zone. And then, merong extra na para sa mga adults na yung si Keegan-Michael Key as si Delroy, yung naging guide nila papuntang Jamaica. I always love it when Keegan-Michael Key is in a movie.
Yes.
He is last na nasa Wonka siya.
Oo.
Siya yung policeman.
Oo.
Na laging binabribe ng mga cartel ng tsokolate. Tapos makita mong palaki siya ng palaki.
I love seeing Keegan-Michael Key in good roles as of late.
Yes.
Na after ng Key and Peele, talagang nag-ano na rin siya
Nakapag-bloom na rin siya.
Quote-unquote, spread his wings.
High five.
And, with flying colors.
Don't you think that his career has reached new heights?
Yes, because he's taken off.
Ay, nako. Pero ito, question. Who do you think has had a better career so far in terms of being more entertaining? Mabilisan lang. Siguro mga 2 minutes lang to. Si Jordan Peele or si Keegan-Michael Key?
Magkaiba sila ng achievements Si Keegan as character actor.
Pa rin.
Oo. And prolific character actor. Pero si Jordan Peele kasi is an Oscar nominee.
Kinalimutan na niya yung pagiging Peele niya sa Key and Peele. Napaka-auteur na ni Sir.
Oo nga Pero I'm still, holding my breath for his comeback.
Kasi yung palang last na role niya na Key and Peele-ish pa is Toy Story 4. Yung silang dalawa ni Keegan yung stuffed toy na maangas.
Oo. Pero nakakamiss yung tandem nila.
Yun na nga Pero it warms my heart na Keegan has still stayed yung in this
buffoonery
space.
Niya.
Yung kanyang effective comedy. Hindi naman minsan buffoon Napaka-smart din naman minsan ng niya Pero alam niya kasi na, I guess, for him as an actor, mas na enjoy niya sigurado yung making people laugh that way. I guess Jordan just has a lot of things to say on his mind.
Mas malaki din kasi yung pressure kay Jordan Peele.
I guess.
Mas malaki yung expectation sa kanya.
That's true.
Dahil dun sa mga magagandang scene na nailabas niya.
That is true. Meron pala ditong nakakatuwang sequence na sobrang pivotal to the ending. Yung involving the song I Will Survive. Okay? So, you'll never see two birds dance to I Will Survive anywhere else except in Migration.
Oo.
Nakakatawa yan.
I like that part.
Ang cute. Basta, this is a very cute film, a very heartwarming film. And, if you have kids, take them to that. Hindi lang siya pang bata, hindi lang siya parang babysitter movie.
Hindi lang pang pamilya.
Pang sports pa? Sige. Okay. Alright. So, let's now go over our third and final film for this episode. And that's Anyone But You, starring Glenn Powell and Sydney Sweeney, directed by Will Gluck. So, it's a rom-com. And I don't know if you've seen the trailers of this film, pero sobrang niyang deceptive kasi it makes it out na para siyang yung sobrang niyang standard na rom-com mo lang. Pero pag napanood mo na to, sobrang iba yung level nung smart and wittiness nung scene kasi sige, I'll go first. Mabilisan lang to and then I'll throw it over to you.
Sige.
I thought that this movie was very, very good. This made it feel na it harkened back to the rom-coms of old. Yung tipong mga Meg Ryan, Tom Hanks, even actually yung Julia Roberts, My Best Friend's Wedding.
Yes.
Ganun yung ganun yung peg niya. Of course, updated for millennial and Gen Z sensibilities. Pero grabe din yung chemistry ni Glenn and ni Sydney. Sobrang sizzling.
True.
To say the least.
That I agree.
Talagang if ever there was the most perfect pairing of actors to appear in a rom-com, this one would be at least top 5, I would guess.
Oo, no? Electric,
Ibang klase talaga. And sobrang ang galing ni Glenn Powell in terms of yung kanyang pagiging yung leading man na medyo may konting parang oafishness na napaka-clueless niya dun sa galawan ng pagiging in love. Tapos nagtatranslate doon sa comedy na nakikita natin on screen. Yung ganong acting niya. Galing talaga. Sige, we'll go over sa'yo. What did you think? What did you like or not like about Anyone But You?
Actually, I really liked it. Let's just start with that.
Okay.
So, here are the reasons why.
Go.
Looking at the poster right now, napansin ko, para siyang yung poster ng How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Ay,
Starring Matthew McConaughey and...
Sino ba ito? Anak nila, Nila Goldie Hawn. Kate Hudson. Yeah. Okay, go.
So, yun din yung parang yun din yung parang impression from the title, di ba? Anyone But You, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. Yeah. So, parang meron silang may frenemy, love-hate relationship, ganon.
Yeah.
And true enough, yun yung story talaga.
Yun yung story,
so, the title properly sets you up for what you're about to see. And then, Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell's on-screen chemistry was just so overwhelming, actually. Unang scene pa lang nila together, yung meet-cute nila dun sa coffee shop. Talagang... Grabe. Ibang klase.
Alam mo yung siya parang if ever there was a way to say na there's sexual tension, pero hindi siya yung libog. Sorry. Parang siyang, alam mong they look like two individuals who are just so physically perfect for each other. Ganun
They're aesthetically pleasing.
Together.
You just love seeing or looking at them as a couple.
True.
And mas nakakatuwa pa nga na they have this banter na frenemy sila.
Yun pa. So, hindi lang siya purely physical yung chemistry nila. Meron din silang sharp comedic timing. Of course, yung script attributed to Ilana Wolpert and director Will Gluck. Pero even then, you can write the best script in the world. And if your actors aren't up to the challenge of delivering it in the way na it's supposed to be delivered, hindi din mag-amount to anything you see. And yan, Sydney and Glenn just deliver these lines na yun
in spades talaga.
And it really evokes yung ang naisip ko nga dito is similar na parang conflict na yung rom-com siya pero magkaaway yung yung bida nating dalawa. Para siyang You've Got Mail.
Oo, sakto. Tsaka yung actually para nga siyang mineld na mga classic rom-coms Yung mga talagang chick flick na list.
Yan.
Parang chinek niya lahat.
True.
Merong elements ng Sleepless in Seattle, When Harry Met Sally, tapos You've Got Mail, tapos meron din parang Pretty Woman, tapos yung naman nila, yung parang love-hate nila, parang 10 Things I Hate About You, which is also inspired
by Shakespeare.
Itong movie na to, by the way, has chapters na relating to
Shakespeare.
Much Ado About Nothing.
Yan, exactly.
So, alam mo yon, talagang nandun yung hallmarks niya of being a classic. And ang pinaka-glaring doon was My Best Friend's Wedding.
Yeah.
Yun talaga. And funny enough, nandun din si Dermot Mulroney.
Yun.
So, parang may blessing na kaagad ni best friend.
Best friend agad.
Kasi siya yung best friend ni Julia Roberts Siya yung kakasal
Siya yung hinahabol ni Julia Roberts dun sa scene.
So,
yun nga. Even the supporting cast came to play. Talaga. Yung nag-stand out sa akin ditong mga characters, si Gata as Pete.
Yes.
And si...
the best friend.
The best friend of Glenn or si Ben.
Ben.
And si Brian Brown as Roger, yung stepfather ni Pete. Tsaka yung stepfather nung ikakasal nilang friend in Australia. Kasi yung may moments dito na, minor spoilers lang for this. Yun nga, magkaaway nga sila, implied dun sa trailer. Ngayon, itong the rest of the gang, may plano sila na gusto nilang pagbatiin yung dalawa, or at least fake man lang. Yun. Tapos yung itong si mag-ama, yung mga moro-moro nilang dalawa. Parang, hey, stepfather, I hear that B is so in love with Ben. Tapos biglang naman siya, yes, I have heard that as well, stepson.
Sobrang sobrang badly acted.
Yung
maskit nila.
Tsaka siya those characters and yung acting nila easily also is one of the many callbacks to the yung sinabi mo mga movies earlier na, well, just to collate them, yung mga Nora Ephron na mga rom-com na meron tayo ditong dalawang leads natin na sobrang either at odds with each other or they just parang can't wait to be with each other pero merong something that's getting in the way. Tapos yung mga friends nila, yung sobrang memorable. If I'm not mistaken, doon sa You've Got Mail, yung kanyang best friend doon, so yung Pete niya ni Tom Hanks doon, si Dave Chappelle.
Ganon?
Double check ko lang.
I need to rewatch that.
Sige. Pero ikaw, what did you, anything to add?
I would like to add na yung mga names nila actually is the same dun sa Much Ado About Nothing.
Nilang lahat.
B was Beatrice. Tapos Ben was Benedict. Tapos even the supporting characters, din siya. Sobrang
Shakespearean talaga yung
binase din talaga nila dun sa original names of the characters in Much Ado About Nothing.
Nice.
So if you're Shakespeare head?
Ano ba masabi natin
Shakespeare
dito?
head.
Shakespeare.
Basta kung ka ba, fanboy or fangirl ni Shakespeare.
Or fan person.
Yeah.
Inclusive.
Yeah. You're gonna be
tickled pink.
Yes.
Yan, confirmed. Yeah. Isa dun sa yung dalawang best friend ni Tom Hanks dun sa sa You've Got Mail, si Dave Chappelle tsaka si Steve Zahn.
Hindi ba siya based din sa Shakespeare?
Ito? Hindi daw ibang
pero adapted siya sa play. I know nga na
may
You've
influence.
Got Mail. You've Got Mail was adapted from a play or something. Shakespeare I wasn't sure, pero hindi pala
Hindi, iba. Pero yun, the movie successfully updates rom-com tropes for the 21st century or siguro specifically for millennial and Gen Z sensibilities talaga, just to echo my earlier statement. And it does so successfully.
Yes.
Hindi siya yung parang, hello, how do you do, fellow kids? Hindi Talagang sobrang niyang relatable.
Yes, true. Agree. And I also have to commend Glenn Powell for his physical comedy.
Yes. Super.
Ngayon ko pa lang siya nakita ulit after Top Gun Maverick.
Yep.
Doon ko pa lang siya nakita. And then, I don't know any other filmography na kung saan siya lumabas. Pero dito ko lang siya na. And he has potential for, big rom-coms na, alam mo yun, he might be the next Hugh Grant or something. He has that charm.
Oo. Grabe yung leading man energy niya. Talagang off the charts. Sabi ko nga din kanina dito, pwede siyang pumalit kay Tom Cruise sa Mission Impossible. Kasi dun sa dulo, di ba, tumatakbo siya na naka-tux.
Oo nga, no? It's giving Ethan.
It's Ethan Hunt Jr.
And malay mo, siya na talaga yung ginagawang protege ni Tom Hanks.
Tom Cruise.
Ay, ni Tom Cruise pala.
Okay. Actually, part din siya ng Top Gun 3.
May Top Gun 3?
Meron. May, so, ang sabi daw yun nga, kasama din siya.
With Miles Teller pa rin?
I would think so. Dapat.
So, story na nila. Siya na si Iceman.
So, yun na nga, parang passing of the torch na. Tama naman. And I would think that Top Gun 3 is in safe hands, lalo na napoprove naman ng mga parts nila na they can capably be the sum of their parts.
At saka, Tom Cruise is getting... he's not getting any younger, although malakas pa siya, pero, it's taking a toll on him din
Oo.
naman.
Tsaka natapusin na lang niya yung
Mission
yung
Impossible.
tapos.
Mag-produce na lang siya.
Ride off into the sunset.
Actually, gusto ko nga siyang makita sa ibang roles na hindi sobrang daredevil na, alam mo yung parang may death wish. Alam mo yung gusto ko naman siyang mapanood sa sine na hindi ako parang malalaglag yung puso dahil lalagi siyang nahuhulog sa helicopter, ganun.
Oh, or yun nga, he just recently signed a deal with Warner Brothers to produce movies for them, create movies for them.
Produce.
Well, yun yung keyword. Pero ikaw naman, pag ikaw si Tom Cruise, expectation yan, part ka ng movie to some degree Yun na nga.
Anyway, hindi naman masyado na tayong nalayo. We're talking about Tom Cruise now.
Kasi Glenn Powell kasi, Tom Cruise yung datingan
Pero yun nga, just going back to the movie, Anyone But You, sobrang love letter siya dun sa mga classic rom-coms.
Yeah, that's true.
Of all time, actually. Even the song na I won't reveal it, pero sobrang callback niya talaga sa isang classic rom-com moment in history.
And for Filipinos, it will call back to a classic commercial in Philippine TV history. Ito sa akin, ang takeaway ko dito maliban dun sa yung sinabi mo, Glenn Powell is the next in line. Talaga. Whatever he does, he's the next big thing.
Can't wait to see him in more movies na siya yung lead. Because he can.
He can. Kayang-kaya talaga. Dalang-dala.
So that's it for Raging Grace, Migration, and Anyone But You.
Okay. So if you've seen one or all of the movies, just let us know what you thought in the comment sections of Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Also, don't forget to let us know what you thought of these movies in our social media pages. I would love to know your thoughts about the movies.
And maybe we can, mention some of the comments on our next episode.
Oh, sige.
Yeah, so certainly. We'll give you a shout out and discuss your comments here on the pod.
Yes. All right. So that's it. Well, for my co-host Angela, this is your host Roy, and thank you for listening to the Cine Geeks podcast, where movies, TV, and all things geek collide.